Greetings, everybody. Welcome to our May 10th TED Talks Discussion Club. Thanks, everybody, for joining me this evening or late afternoon, depending on where you're at. And this month's theme is health and medicine. And I'm going to get us started with the first video, which is it is Wendy Suzuki, The Brain-Changing Benefits of Exercise. And I'm going to post the link and then I'm going to pause sharing. And if you're watching the recording, make sure you watch the linked video in the description and then come back for the discussion. All right, I'm going to pause recording and then I'm going to share my screen and stream the video, or you can watch the video on your own machine. You might have a little bit better experience depending. All right. What did everybody think? I wasn't able to keep up with the chat. I see some people commenting, I love exercise. It always makes me feel better after working out. Weightlifting it has always been therapeutic for me, eases the stress and focuses anger, frustration. Struggled with commitment to exercise. Personally, I've gotten off many medications just by exercise, sleeping meds, anxiety meds, and even blood pressure meds. I don't have to take them anymore. That's amazing. Once my grandma stopped going out and moving, started showing signs of dementia in a short time. That's sad. Such a grumpy person. I need more than an hour to get the effects of exercise. Now my dog is looking at me oddly. Charles, I see you unmuted. Do you have a comment?
Sorry, I'm in transit. I'm actually in downtown Colorado Springs, parked on the side of a road because I'm about to give a concert. But I'm in the Army, so I work out every morning, and I think that's part of the stigma of why they do it that way, is because it does get your blood pumping, it gets your brain working, so you're ready to take on the day. And I've taken that, and I also started doing workouts at night to further like break the day up into two. And when I get home from work, I try and do a workout before I get fully home so I can actually engage with my family. And I think that's why the Army does it that way, and they have the PT in the morning. So that's probably why the Army does it that way. And I think that my brain works okay because, like, in the Army, or I'm in the honors program here. So
yes. Awesome, Charles. Thanks for sharing. So are you in an Army music group or band, or?
I am. Well, it's an Armed Forces Day concert. I'm actually, it's a joint ensemble. We've got the Air Force Academy. We've got some people that flew in from Annapolis and the Naval Academy, and I think we even have some Coast Guard guys. So it's a really cool joint concert for all of the services. I'm really looking forward to this one.
What instrument do you play?
I play percussion.
Percussion.
They have me up there playing all sorts of random instruments. It's always an interesting time, but it's always a lot of fun. If you ever get to see a military band concert, go see one. It's fun.
Awesome. I was going to say, I bet having good cardiovascular health and lung capacity is important if you're playing brass or woodwinds or any of those instruments where you have to do a lot of exhaling and controlled inhaling. But percussion is probably quite a workout as well at times.
We're all health nuts, it feels like. So
awesome. Thanks, Charles. Edward, do you have a comment?
I do. I'm sort of on the road, so pardon the non-camera reaction here. So I think everybody's in agreement for the most part as it pertains to the health benefits of exercise, what it can do for all of us. Again, doing it in the morning, doing it at night, doing it to de-stress, doing it to for better mental health, personal health. The list goes on. One of the interesting things that I took away from her video was thinking about exercise as it pertains to brain health. We go through and we often relate working out and exercise to, okay, well, how do I get more likes on Instagram because my photos look better? Or how do I look better, in these, in the light of the those I work with, or family, or a partner we're trying to woo, something like that. You know, we focus so much on the physical that we really don't think about the mental aspect of it. Sure, it de-stresses us, but that's kind of as far as the thought process goes. It was really interesting to kind of hear her talk about how when we work out, we're effectively putting up or building a muscle in the brain that helps with long-term health from a brain capacity. And I thought that was an interesting point that she really drew upon and through a lot of her talk.
Thank you so much for sharing, Edward. And yeah, we've got some good comments in the chat as well. Yeah, going on a good long walk, 3 to 4 miles. And that's something that can be pretty low impact, like a brisk walk for a long distance. You know, if like running or jogging is potentially too much for your joints. And I did want to say too, I posted in the chat, and you know, I know that different people have different physical abilities and circumstances and things like that. And also, you know, that I think it's good. And I think you talked about this a little bit, Edward, but you know, that this for a long time, there's been a very big focus in our culture about like certain body types and idealizing that like through media. And I think we're seeing where, you know, we're getting more validation and appreciation and representation from many different body types, which I think is great. And, you know, I think each person should try to do what they can with, you know, with their own circumstances. But yeah, Cody, did you want to share?
Yeah, first, I just want to say, Charles, thank you for your service. I really appreciate that. And then kind of to what Edward was saying, it's ironic that this is the focus tonight. I am on a short academic break here until the beginning of June. Just have been feeling overwhelmed between my work life and my personal life and school, and just trying to balance everything. And so I needed a little mental break, and that's okay. We all kind of go through that period. But to what Edward was saying, I grew up an athlete, and exercise was always something that I did for either fun or competition, or force myself to do so I could look good, or I could try to keep up with other people in my same age group that are doing these physical activities or these, you know, feats. But it wasn't until I actually took my job as a supervisor about 2 years ago, and then also shortly thereafter enrolled in UAGC and started feeling the stress of both my work life and academics again, to where I started doing long distance running, and I started seeing that mental benefit from that stress immobilizer is really what I like to call it, because just like today, I had a really long day today. I was really stressed out, what I would call a bad day. I went on a quick 3-mile run before, you know, I knew I had about 30 to 45 minutes before this started. And so I went on a quick run, and not even really knowing that tonight's topic was going to be exercise and the benefits of exercise. So I'm a firm believer in that mental and that brain aspect of it. I know it does help my long-term memory a lot. Being overwhelmed and being stressed out, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but being stressed out can really have negative effects on your short-term memory and your long-term memory. But that decompression through exercise has kind of combated that stress from both school and my professional career.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing, Cody. Looks like Kristen shared a cool link, a neuroscientist podcast. Oh, featuring Wendy Suzuki. Awesome. Thanks for finding that. And yeah, I always like finding new podcasts to listen to when I'm on road trips, or also can be good for if you're exercising, if you're walking or jogging, can listen to a podcast or music. So thank you for sharing that. Nicole. Any other comments?
This is supposed to be a focus with physical health, improving the mindset and the body and everything, right?
Yeah, well, the overall focus for today is health and medicine. So this was one talk that I thought was particularly interesting.
Some people get obsessive though, right? Or they take it a little bit too far, or if he mentioned feeling overwhelmed and run out of time, and then you're still trying to fit those workouts in, and again, mentioning the same thing. I'm the same way. Like I was built a certain way, sports, whatnot, and then your lifestyle, your career takes over, whatnot, and you start getting rid of the extracurricular activities and eventually physical health. But when it becomes main focus, it takes time, and I think that's where time management comes in. You start adding stress, you start adding where you got extra expenses. I mean, obviously, you could just eat chicken and rice and broccoli and probably be perfectly healthy with a certain amount of fruits. Like some of us don't have a structured career like the military where you're up at 5 o'clock in the morning in bed by 8. Some people work construction. It's, 7 days a week, 16, 18, 20 hours a day. At what point, and like she said, 3-4 times a week, 30 minutes a day, it doesn't take much to maintain a certain amount of heart health and mental health. But I think she has a good point of trying to figure out, because everybody's individually different. You almost have to figure out what it's going to take to make or maintain what your goal is, whether it's physical, mental, health wise. Like I didn't go to the gym last night because we worked till almost 2 a.m. I debated it, and I've been in a bad mood all day today. But that's because I'll go to the gym and bench press a couple plates, squat, whatever. And then by the time I'm done, I'm physically spent. I was already mentally spent before I walked in, between education and, family, raising kids and all that other stuff. Graduation's coming up with high school kids. There needs to be that separation. That's why a lot of people choose alcohol. They go to the bars every night. 10 years ago, I chose to quit going to the bar and just go to the gym. Right. So, but like, I think where I'm going with this is that, yes, it's healthy to go to the gym, or yes, it's healthy to pursue a little bit of health, but just like addictive, it's addiction, right? So then you just keep on going and going and going and going. And some people just take it too far. So
Sure.
Again, just throwing out, I did this last time. I think last time I was on here with you, I was actually on a step mill talking to you. If you remember.
Yeah,
So,
that's, I know. And I have, being a professor for an online university, I spend a lot of time behind a desk, and I do have a stand desk that I need to use more of. And I've thought about getting some sort of, having a treadmill or something that I can do some of my work while just walking a little bit to get a little more movement in. But yeah, thanks for sharing, Donald. Yeah, certainly, as with a lot of things in life, it's about balance and finding the right balance that works for you in terms of all the different priorities that you have. And I think that this talk was good because it just reminded us that our whole selves are connected, and every aspect of our physical, mental, emotional self, it impacts the other aspects. As people said, like stress can have a negative impact on your physical health and your mental health. Conversely, we learned that improving your physical health can have positive effects on your emotional and your mental health as well. So Brian said balancing different exercise routines to give yourself time to recover. Yeah, and just too, I guess, people who are just getting started, it's good to get guidance so that you're not doing things where you're going to injure yourself. Like having proper movement and form, and if you're lifting weights and things like that, it is important to at least get some guidance from somebody who has some experience, or do the research so that kind of what to avoid in terms of injuring yourself. Yeah. So we're about halfway. Any last comments before we move into the next video?
I was just gonna say, I don't do like traditional exercise real often, if ever. I like how she said things about, while you're cleaning and things like that. That's when I feel like if I've been studying too much or whatever I'm doing and I need to move around, like I feel like that's the way I get that, my exercise in for the day or for that brief period of time that I have. So that just getting up to move and do that, like, 'cause some people are not good at just regular exercise. So I
Mhm.
think that, it's good to have something that is somewhat leisurely or that just at least gets your blood flowing. That helps also, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a formal exercise.
That's a great point, Lindsay. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I always notice that on days when I have to mow the lawn that my step count is quite a bit higher. And also, yeah, gardening. I like to garden, and that I get a lot of steps in, lift bags of compost, and or move compost from the compost pile to the garden, pull weeds, things like that. Yeah, there's a lot of, and I guess like, I don't know if Donald mentioned, I think Donald maybe mentioned in a previous session that he works in construction, or he mentioned it again today. But like, if you have a physical profession, like where you're doing a lot of moving around, getting a lot of steps, moving and lifting things and stuff like that, that can be a good just form. I remember when I worked for a company a long time ago delivering produce. So I was lifting and moving a lot of boxes of lettuce, all kinds of produce, and doing a lot of driving as well, but doing a lot of lifting and moving, and a lot of walking around all day. So anyway, I'm going to move on to the next video, and I'm going to share it, and then I'm going to pause the recording. This one is so we got kind of the exercise part. This is one perspective on nutrition from somebody who has been as a researcher in human nutrition and health for 60 years. And this is a TEDx from Cornell University. And it is "Why is the Science of Nutrition Ignored in Medicine" by T. Colin Campbell. And there's the link, and I'm going to stop recording.